Bitcoin's price is making headlines again, having exploded following Donald Trump's win to be the 47th president of the United States. Seeing Bitcoin viciously approach the 100K milestone level, it's entirely logical to wonder if it's too late to buy Bitcoin in 2024. In fact, this is not an easy question to answer, but in this video I'll do my best. Hopefully, by the end of it, you will have a more clear idea of whether the ship has sailed or if it's time to consider jumping on board yourself. Let's go! Before we continue, you should know that nothing in this video is financial advice. All of it is for educational purposes only, as we dive deeper into the mysterious and excited realm of cryptocurrencies. My name is George, and if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to our channel with the notification bell so you don't miss out on the next one. We have these every weekday, by the way. With that boring bit out of the way, let's try to see what's driving Bitcoin's price up in the past week, what some of the most prominent institutions are thinking about its future price potential, and whether it is a good idea to consider it yourself. First things first, why is the Bitcoin price up? Bitcoin went on a massive rally throughout the past 7 days as it approached $90,000 earlier on Tuesday. This marked an increase of around 30% on a 7-day basis, thereby providing for one of Bitcoin's best weekly performances ever. This was entirely driven by the fact that Trump was elected because he's made a bunch of promises related to the cryptocurrency industry, including to fire the current chairman of the SEC, Gary Gensler, and appoint a pro-crypto person for his job. He's also promised to create a strategic Bitcoin stockpile for the US and much, much more. We have a video for that and I'll link it in the description below. The other main reason for the rally is the fact that MicroStrategy, a firm that's known to be the largest corporate holder of BTC in the world, has made a massive announcement of buying Bitcoin worth a little over $2 billion this week at an average price of around $74,000. So to recap, the rally was the result of a combination between positive political developments in the US, coupled with a massive corporate buy, both of which fueled investor interest and propelled the prices higher. So how does this help us answer the question if it's too late for you to buy Bitcoin in 2024? Well, think about it this way. MicroStrategy is a publicly traded company with a market capitalization of around $70 billion at the time of this recording. They seem to think that $74,000 is a good price to ape in with a massive $2 billion investment. But that's just one tiny example, and to dive deeper into the topic, let's check out what some of the other institutional investors, also known as smart money, think about Bitcoin's price potential going forward. First up, we have Standard Chartered, the global British multinational bank. It came out strong, saying that they expect Bitcoin to reach 125,000 by the end of 2024 and 200,000 by the end of 2025. They based their prediction on one simple condition. Trump and the Republican Party in the US should assume control of Congress. And guess what? They did. Now, is 125K in the next month and a half a little bit too ambitious? Maybe, but if their best case scenario pans out, Bitcoin will be trading at around 130% higher than it is right now. Prediction number 2 comes from Jurian Timur, who's going a bit hardcore. Now, for context, Timur is the global head of macro at Fidelity, one of the world's largest asset managers, and they do offer crypto products to their clients. So do with this information what you will. Anyhow, Timur thinks that holding as little as 0.001 BTC could make you a millionaire by 2038. He estimates that that's when Bitcoin will get this, $1 billion per coin. His prediction is mostly based on Metcalfe's law, which states that the value of network financial assets is equal to the square number of users in the network. Now, another interesting take by someone you've probably heard of is that of Robert Kiyosaki. He's famous for his best-selling book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he's a known Bitcoin proponent throughout the past many years. Kiyosaki believes that Bitcoin is hitting 500K in 2025 and 1 million in 2030. But of course, it's important to note that all of these have vested interest in Bitcoin, and making positive predictions isn't so surprising. That's where facts come into play. Just a few days ago, BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF saw daily inflows to the tune of $1 billion. This means that investors piled in to buy BTC through the ETF, and the company behind it, in this case BlackRock, had to buy the corresponding number of BTC and place them into custody. By the way, if you want to check out some of the best Bitcoin ETFs, we have a cool guide on the topic, and I'll leave a link for it down in the description. Now, back to it. This is a huge demand for BTC, and remember, the supply is finite and it's getting decreased every 4 years when the Bitcoin halving takes place. The last one happened this year, by the way, and if history is any indicator, there's always been a bull market after a Bitcoin halving. Another tailwind for Bitcoin going into 2025 is what Donald Trump has promised to do. Firing Gary Gensler, the current chairman of the SEC, is not just a spontaneous act with no consequences. On the contrary, it carries huge implications. The SEC, under Gensler, has filed more than 100 lawsuits against prominent crypto companies such as Coinbase, Kraken, Binance, and more. To make matters worse, the agency hasn't provided a clear framework of rules that the industry should follow other than a decades-old Howey test to check whether or not tokens are securities. By employing someone who is, at the very least, open to conversation, Trump's administration can jumpstart the local crypto industry in the US, which will quickly resonate throughout the rest of the world. And that's just one of the promises he's made. He also plans to create a strategic Bitcoin stockpile for the US, which is arguably the biggest endorsement a digital asset can get. But enough for the strong points. What are some of the risks? Well, there's always market-related risks such as temporary or longer-term drawdowns, but these also apply to traditional markets like stocks, for example. A more Bitcoin-specific risk would be for Michael Saylor to suddenly end his crusade and start dumping the billions of BTC that his company is currently holding. How likely is for this to happen? Well, chances are definitely greater than zero, but definitely very unlikely given that they just bought another 2 billion worth of Bitcoin. Another specific risk would be for Satoshi to finally show up and start selling. Again, chances are not zero, but you know. The bottom line is that Bitcoin, as with all investments, is a two-part conversation and it does carry some risks. However, given the current economic and political climate, many are of the opinion that the benefits are currently outweighing the risks. This doesn't necessarily mean that you should rush headfirst buying Bitcoin on the spot. Make sure to weigh in the pros and the cons for yourself. Bitcoin is a very volatile asset, and if you can't stomach your portfolio losing 50% of its value in a week, well, perhaps it's better to look elsewhere. Anyways, that's a wrap for today's video, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you in the next one.